opportunists. They're going down the street, they're checking door handles on cars. It seems like if the cars are secured, they're going on to the next one. If they're open, they're grabbing whatever they can. They're grabbing garage door openers seems to be a big one. And we think what the reason of that is they're going to come back later and go into the house. And that's actually happened on a couple of the instances where they came back a week or so later and actually entered the residence. And we had a case where they stole a quad and some motorcycles from people. So I know that this is just a small representation from of the people that actually live in Eagle Crest, so it's really important that you all talk to your families that live there, your neighbors, people on your block that you see, anybody that you can talk to that lives there, to get this information out that if we can, lock our vehicles on the street, if you can put them in the garage, that'd be best, but I know that, that's not going to happen, all the time. So if you do going to have to leave it on the street or in the carport, lock it. Take your wallet inside. Take your garage door opener inside. And these guys will come by and they'll hit your door handle. They're probably going to go on to the next one until they find one that's unlocked. But I think if we can get that word out, we'll do some serious damage as far as this occurring, anymore in the recent, in recent times. Another mode that we've seen on at least a couple of these burglaries is those of you who own soft top vehicles. We've had several instances where they came by with a knife, and I'm almost sure it's the same guys. They're cutting the top on. We've had instances where it's a rag top vehicle. They're just cutting the top. If the doors are locked, they'll just cut the top and reach in. Same thing on a couple of Jeeps with soft tops. So if you've got those vehicles, whatever you can do to get them in the garage for the time being would really help us out a lot. And as well as if you see these guys that were passing the photos around, if you see them in your neighborhood, or you see anything suspicious, just doesn't have to be these two guys, call it in. A lot of times people say, hey, well, we didn't see you out here on that. Well, if you don't call it in, we don't know it happened. If something happened, you thought, well, they only stole the change out of the ashtray on my car. If you don't call in and we don't know what happened, we can't track that. So anytime you see anything suspicious or in your neighborhood, make sure to call it in. The deputies don't mind rolling through there, and if it's nothing, then he'll continue patrol. But a lot of times, those little tiny things that you see something that's just not right in the community, you guys are the eyes and ears of your community, you see something that's just not right, and a lot of times that can turn into something really big once a deputy gets out there and starts confronting these people. The direct line to my desk in Florence is 520-866-5239. And I'm in the field most of the time, so if I'm not there to answer it, leave a message. I'll get back with you. But if it's anything, you see someone on your street, don't waste your time calling me. Call it in on 911. The best thing to do is not to touch anything. If you go out in the morning and you find out that your vehicle has been broken into, don't touch anything. Touch as little, as minimal as you can. Because a lot of times when we get there, stuff has already been handled and stuff, and then it's pointless for us to try and dust for prints at that time. I believe most all the deputies, I know our crime scene techs, we can get them out there if we have to. I know that I carry one. We can dust for prints on your vehicle's door. A lot of good flat surfaces that these people touch. Sometimes they might wear gloves, but more times than not, I've been lucky that they're just opportunists and they're going to grab something. And I couldn't tell you how many cases I put together where all I had was a thumbprint on the hood of a car. But this morning we may have came in contact with a piece of evidence that might have some physical characteristics on it. And when I say physical characteristics, that could be blood, fingerprint, something like that. Something that's going to absolutely tie somebody to something, no matter what they say or what their alibi was. So I'm hoping that we've got that this morning. Like I said, I'm not crossing my fingers yet. But what happened was a vehicle was broken into. They took the garage door opener, and I don't know if they dropped it or they tried using it, it didn't happen, but they ended up just setting it down. Yes, sir.
They left it on the mailbox on the way out the door.
Okay, was that your house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as we speak, that garage door opener is in evidence. It's going to be packaged, sent up to Phoenix to be dusted for prints, and cross my fingers, hopefully we can get something with that.
The lady asked here that if you do call 911, there's an issue because you guys are on the line. Sometimes it does go to the Pima County PSAP. I'm sure you tell them that you are in Pinal County. I know it sounds funny, but because of the area that you're in, I'm sure some of you probably have experienced it already. Just make sure you specify you're in Pinal County so they call Pinal County and not Pima County.
I haven't heard anyone mention weapons. Are you trying not to scare us, or do you know if they're carrying like knives, guns, bats, anything? Has anyone mentioned that?
Not that we know of. Anytime we confront a suspect, we always assume that they're armed until we can prove otherwise. But we haven't seen anything like that yet, other than the couple of vehicles that they had the tops cut, assuming that was with a knife. But everybody carries a pocket knife. So it wouldn't take very much to slit the rag top on one of those vehicles.
Let me give one message to the neighborhood watch and the citizen. Our job is to observe and report. 911, that's what we do. If you see somebody going down the street with a flashlight at 1 o'clock at night, call 911. Please don't anybody in here attempt any apprehension. That's what these guys do right here.
And I'm sure if it's somebody just out for a walk that gets confronted by a deputy, hopefully they're going to understand why that deputy's out there talking to them at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, if they just came home or walking their dog in the middle of the night.
I'm sure any one of you would understand why we're stopping you at 1 o'clock in the morning if you're out for a walk.
I've been one of the victims, but we're not very far from our little park area. And I've heard tell that there's some cars that will kind of come from the Saddlebrook area and then from the Eagle Crest Drive area. They park there, turn off their lights. Now, I don't know, I didn't see it, I can't, you know, but it's during the night. But one of the neighbors across from me can see the park. So she swears that that's where it's all going on.
It's unordinary for you folks to have people in your park at whatever hours
She
is
should call.
referring.
Her house,
She needs
she
to
can
call.
see it, I cannot.
Yeah,
And the
please
other
call.
thing is that most of the houses in these areas, which is unusual for me, but everything is in the back of the house. That's where our bedrooms are. So it's very difficult to know that somebody's running up and down the street in the middle of the night. Are you patrolling some?
Yes.
More now than,
More now than in the past. Yes.
Okay.
With the realignment, the refilling that the sheriff has talked about, it's allowed us to put more officers directed into the communities instead of just free floating.
because most of these have been occurring during the night or the wee hours of the
Right.
morning, I understand.
Right, and that's in our swing shift and short shift.
Okay.
With the gentleman in the back who brought up our cooperation and sharing information with Pima County, that a call kicks out. If you see something like that happening and people are walking up and down the street, to Bill's point, call 911. Depending on where the deputy is that's assigned to beat 13, the beat that you live in, if they're in Saddlebrook or if they're somewhere else in this area, or they might be assisting a neighboring deputy on a call to back him or her up. So know that, but when you call dispatch, dispatch